Pennsylvania does have a lot that it can do. And one of the things that I have my students do, and I'm gonna put a challenge out to the rest of y'all folks, if you're feeling a little frustrated, because I think a lot of what we're talking about ends in a feeling of helplessness. It's white people who's doing this and we have no control over this. You can, even though we are geographically locked into New York, affect the outcomes of elections in other states. Sorry, I got Brooklyn outside. Give me a second. Sirens are popping.
It's not that loud.
I can barely think, it's so loud for me. But you can do this thing called adopt a state. If you go on this website for adopt a state, you can participate in influencing the outcome of elections in other states. And Pennsylvania is one of them. Also, you have Arizona, which is an important state as far as just to kind of circle back on the Supreme Court, as far as the outcome of the voting for who's going to be on the Supreme Court. That could flip a senator from the Republican column to the Democratic column. And if they do not confirm this justice before the election, that could play a significant role, because then they'd have three more seats and only need one more person to say that they are against confirming this justice until the new presidential administration starts. So there are ways that folks can do something other than be rightfully upset. We could generate outcomes from that upset. So as far as the COVID-19 stuff, I felt like that was Donald Trump's weakest point in the debate. That was where he was the most tongue-tied, where he tried to change the subject. Every time it was brought up, he would talk about the economy, jobs and shutting down the economy, and then all of this business about financial costs.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Hold up, real quick, Minister EnQi. We got Minister EnQi in the building. I want to say, I'm gonna disagree with you. I think that was Donald Trump's strongest point, because Donald Trump know that they full of shit. Simple, point blank. Donald Trump know they full of shit, and this is why. Look, if the coronavirus was really a major something that was so serious, then remember all through this summer, there was thousands and thousands and millions of people having protest marches with no mask. So if any city should have been under attack right now, would have been Harlem, would have been New York City, because damn near everybody was out there with no mask, marching and being around everybody. But see, Donald Trump knew better than that. He didn't come out with no masks during none of his damn rallies. When you look at all of them, how come none of them is coming up with the coronavirus? Only really a lot of black people is getting infected with the coronavirus. Donald Trump knew that they were full of shit, and so he ain't even want to discuss that. He was just majorly saying, yo, open up the cities. We need to open this shit up. Y'all bullshitting. I know better than that. But go ahead, Minister EnQi. I'll let Minister EnQi get it in.
Yeah. So a couple of quick points I just wanted to ask the Biden supporters. And later on, I do want to get back to that 94 crime bill, because I think y'all kind of glossed over that. But regarding the coronavirus incident, do y'all feel like, because Biden was about leaving the borders open to China, so knowing that the virus started in China and was primarily being spread from that area of the world, are y'all saying that Trump failed the country by closing the borders to China, basically effectively quarantining the country from the source of the virus?
I think you might be mistakenly calling me a Biden supporter, which I am not, but I think you were directing that to me in part. So let me say this: Donald Trump did not close travel from China. That is a lie that he says a lot, and you're repeating it. That's not what he did. What he did was he stopped people who were not Americans from coming back from China. He never stopped all travel from China. He says he shut it down, but that's not true.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
By the time he did that,
let me just address that point that you made right there, brother.
His advisors told him to do that.
Wait, hold on. I don't want you to make a lot of points. I want to be able to address what you're saying. So are you saying that when he closed the borders off to China, knowing that a virus was in China that was deadly, that we should have left the American people that was in China locked away in China with the deadly virus?
No, I'm saying that he didn't close the border.
Of course, because
I'm saying he's exaggerating
back home.
as to what he did.
No, he did close the border to everybody that was not American. See, he didn't let anybody that didn't live here come here. He was letting the people that lived here come back home.
But unfortunately, the virus didn't say, well, you're an American, I'm not going to jump on you. I'm only going to jump on non-Americans who come in. So that really doesn't make any difference as far as a infectious disease. So that doesn't matter. All I'm saying is that Donald Trump is exaggerating that.
No, but what Trump's point is making is that Biden wanted to leave the border open completely.
Joe Biden didn't have the same amount of information that the president of the United States does from having the daily briefings. He had information about what was happening in China, including stuff that was.
It's a moot point. Biden wasn't in power. It's a moot point.
Wait a minute.
Say
so
that again,
are we
Rex?
saying that Biden is so irresponsible?
Wait a minute. Why are we discussing something? It wasn't his policy. He wasn't in power. So
right, but what we're talking about,
it doesn't matter.
No, Reggie, it does matter. I'm gonna tell you why. Because Biden wants us to believe in him and vote him into office. But if what you're saying right now is that Biden spoke about leaving the borders open, yet he didn't have enough information to make a proper decision, why would that in turn lead people to vote for Biden when he's speaking out to the public without
because you know why?
Can I respond? Go
ahead and respond, brother Jabari.
Sometimes what we can do, we have to, this is a shell game, right? The issue of closing the borders did virtually nothing. It did nothing. First of all, the border wasn't closed. So to say that he closed the border is just following what we can only call propaganda. And in addition to that, even if you were going to close borders anywhere, you already have to know that because it's a very infectious virus, it's going to come in.
I thought what you would
have to do, let me finish. What you would have to do is say, if I close borders, it will buy me time to do A, B, C, D, and E. But in fact, he didn't do any of those things.
Okay, hold on.
So what we have to do when we say he closed the border, would you want someone else to close the border? You're actually just arguing an argument on the terms that Donald Trump has made. So what should happen? Let me finish. Could you please let me finish? Please let me finish. What needs to happen? What needed to happen is we should have actually gotten all of the protective equipment in place for all of the workers that would need it. We should have gotten testing up to where it needed to be. And in addition to that, we should have been actually working with the rest of the world on the plan for some sort of redress of the virus itself. But instead what Donald Trump did is he started, instead of what Donald Trump did.
Hold on, let him finish, y'all, let him finish.
Instead of what Donald Trump did, is he made no plan to get ventilators. He made no plan to get PPE. In fact, even when PPE was coming in, what was happening is states would have to get their own protection. And then they would have to bid against each other for it. And to make matters worse, after they bid it against each other and you have a shipment of masks and gowns and stuff coming in, the federal government would sometimes swoop in and take it. So basically what has happened is all of the ways that public health experts approach containing an infectious virus, an infectious disease, none of them were done. Closing the borders,
you're promoting propaganda right now.
Even if he did close the borders,
Jabari, you're promoting propaganda right now.
All right, hold on, Mr. EnQi. Hold on, everybody, hold on, Minister EnQi. Go get yourself a pen and pad so you can write down what you want to say. Let the brothers finish, and then you can go.
When is he gonna finish though?
Okay, good question.
I mean,
Now, Reg,
got all of these conjunctive. Brother Jabari.
Now, let's be clear. Let's be clear. When we
Brother
discuss,
Jabari,
when we discussed this program with
wrong.
Sonnetter, there were 3 participants. I'm very happy,
Right.
to have my brother Reg in, but the reality is that the person that has spoken the most is Reg. And that was not what this program was supposed to be.
All right, but we ain't gonna take it there. Let's continue on.
Wait.
Let's have a good build, y'all. Let's have a good build.
When am I gonna finish? The reality is that this is not the program that we discussed.
Right.
So I want, with regard to the coronavirus, there are ways that you stop an infectious pandemic. And none of those ways were practiced. In fact, when New York got hit really hard, the virus did not come from China. The virus came from Italy. And what did Trump say? Trump said, well, what's wrong with Italy? It's a beautiful country. That's what he said. Viruses don't have passports. It doesn't work that way. So if we are thinking that closing the border to China, which in parentheses he did not do, was an effective way to approach the virus, it was not. And then you should know that if you're looking at what's happening in China, that means you got to get your ventilators up. It means that you have to make sure you get PPE properly secured. It means that you have to prepare the capacity of hospitals because you might get a deluge of people who are infected. He didn't do any of that. So let's stop talking about supposedly closing the borders to China, because that was not only was that not going to be an effective strategy, but he didn't even do that. That's
all right, Jabari, let me bring on Minister EnQi. EnQi, go ahead, and then we got Dr. Reggie, and then Melee. Go ahead, EnQi.
So there's a couple of things wrong with what Jabari's doing. So Jabari is superimposing his own arguments as if they were Biden's. If we're dealing with the debate, we're dealing with Biden's point of views versus Trump's, because the people aren't voting for Jabari for president. So what we have to do is look effectively at the strategies that Biden proposed versus the strategies that Trump proposed. That's number one. Number two, Trump's administration was actively helping to convert factories around the country into manufacturing stations for PPEs.
I got to see an article on that. Let's see an article on that.
That's number two. Number three, the ventilators that you're talking about that the people needed to save people, we have countless nurses and doctors that are on record saying that those ventilators were actually causing the majority of deaths.
That's not true. 3. That is not true.
That is
not true.
Jabari, I'm sad to say that is true, brother.
That is not true.
There's people that did come out saying that, brother.
That is not true.
No, you're mixing things up.
Hold on, let him finish.
Number 4, are you two aware, because I see that y'all might be Biden or Democrat apologists, are you two aware? Are you two aware that the CDC?
This is the YouTube community. This is how you talk to one another.
Hold on, let him finish, y'all. Let him finish.
I'm asking y'all, are y'all aware that the CDC?
Biden apologist?
Yes.
Go ahead.
CDC recently changed their statistics on the deaths directly caused by coronavirus. That's number 4. And number 5, do you guys have any proof that the mask that people are wearing is preventing the coronavirus spread and death?
Damn.
Okay, let me answer all 5. You wanna take it, should I?
Oh, well,
all right, now I'm going to Brother Reggie. Dr. Reggie, it's on you.
I'm gonna let Melee speak.
He just asked the question.
You're in the wrong space, man. This is not.
I'm gonna let Melee speak because he hasn't spoken.
Hold on, everybody. Hold on, Reggie. Go ahead.
I'm gonna let Brother Melee speak in my place because he hasn't spoken.
All right, Brother Melee is on you. Then we're gonna go up here to the brother. What's your name again, brother?
Should I?
Should I?
All right,
should I? We're gonna go to you next after Melee. Go ahead, Brother Melee.
All right, I just want to say a couple things real quick. Number one, the one thing I wanted to say real fast when you guys was talking about, Trump being an overt racist, what you get, and Biden, being a racist, but he's undercover. I feel like, Trump with his racism, what he is doing is he is empowering people that are racist at heart, but weren't actively doing racist things because it wasn't politically acceptable. It wasn't cool. Trump has made it cool for guys to go out here and decide to kill people in the way that Ahmaud Arbery was killed. The racist people are feeling like, you know, that make America great again, make America racist again. And he, like Brother Farrakhan said, he's peeled back the onion on white civility. The white folks that are racist are going bananas. Trump said, when you arrest them, put the hand on top of their head, and so they get in the car. Take the hand off the top of the head. Cops is killing black folks. I mean, they always been, but it's just this 2020 is going crazy. And I just don't know if we both know that they're racist, but Biden is calmer and he's not going bananas with it, which is better? Which is the less of two evils? Do you want brain cancer or do you want breast cancer? You know, which one is better to deal with? And I just want to pose that out there. But secondly, I didn't know if you were saying, Sarnetta, about the coronavirus, like, you know, not that you were saying it's bullshit, but is it really that serious? Your mic's muted.
Yeah, you're correct. I was saying it's bullshit. You're correct.
This is why I say it's not. And for this just one reason, I'm reading the tea leaves. If it wasn't bullshit, there'd be people in them stands at them NFL games. You know how many millions of dollars they're losing by not letting people come to the game? So if it kind of was bullshit,
you really think they losing money, brother? Come on, man.
That's a fact.
You really think they're losing money? What I'm saying to you, that the coronavirus is bullshit, is because it's being helped with the hands that you don't see. It's not the corona that's killing you. Just like they said AIDS was killing you. It's not the AIDS. It's them shots. It's all the shit that they giving you in your arm. It's the vaccines. That's the stuff that's killing you. If the corona was really killing us, brother, all of us would be dead right now. We all been out there. I've been out there damn near all summer without a goddamn mask amongst everybody. Bro.
Okay. So if it's not real, what are they gaining?
And I've been over to my mom's house and everything. Mom's is good. All of us is good. Everybody, brother, come on, man. Go ahead, finish though.
And we get on that some more. And Youngster's talking about, you know, Biden this and the Trump that and the goddamn debate they just had. This is the one thing we got to keep in mind, man. Donald Trump is not too damn smart. Forget the racism, forget the little back and forth that they doing, your son, my son, and all that. Donald Trump not that smart. And if COVID is real or if it ain't real, the way he handled it, the way shit came out that he admitted behind the scene, yeah, I knew it was deadly. I knew it was going to be a killer. I knew it was bad. But he came out and lied to us. For what reason? I mean, it's just the shit. I'm not for Biden, but the shit that Donald Trump is doing, it's just like, damn, he can't be that smart, man. We need somebody smart. I mean, what are they going to do for black folks?
We need somebody smart.
All right. So what I want to do right now is I want to pass this torch to Brother Jabari. I'm gonna let Jabari control this panel right quick. It's on you, Brother Jabari. I'll be black. Keep it going.
I think that with regard to the coronavirus, I think Melee has said some really important things. I mean, if we don't believe that the coronavirus is not deadly, and you support Trump, then you must believe it's deadly, because quiet it's kept. You've probably already heard his interview where he was very clear about how deadly it was in early February. That's not what he said to the people.
Right.
And so I think that what we have to recognize is it does no good for us. Black and brown people are the ones that are dying. It does no good for us to pretend that the coronavirus isn't real. We need to do lots of things to ensure that people don't get sick. And
Jabari,
by the way,
you said black and brown people are dying, Jabari?
We're the ones that are dying at larger percentages.
How do you explain that if the coronavirus is real? You saying that the coronavirus, hold on, let me ask you. Are you saying the coronavirus is just created to attack black people?
No, that's not.
So do the coronavirus attack everybody?
No, yes.
No, coronavirus.
The pre-existing conditions are hitting our population harder because we are more susceptible to diabetes.
Right. That's exactly. Hold on, Melee. That's exactly what they trained you to believe. That's exactly what they told you. That's exactly what they trained you, brother. And y'all going for that nonsense. Go ahead, man.
Oh my gosh. This is.
I want to say that it should be clear that the coronavirus is simply exploiting weaknesses in the United States. And one of the major weaknesses of the United States is racism. There's a system that has actually attacked black bodies, that has attacked black people since before we even understood what was happening. We have a larger percentage of what sometimes people
call. Can I ask you a question about that?
Give me a minute. We have a larger percentage of what are called comorbidities. We have higher percentages of conditions that make us more vulnerable to the virus. And the funny thing is, Sonnetta, I have been saying this to you since the first week of March, before I even knew I had the coronavirus. Out of the people that are here, I'm the one that had it.
But you didn't have it.
And you
also have to take into account the kinds of jobs that people have.
Yes.
That there are the kinds of jobs where you are more exposed that people of color are forced to do. We're called essential workers when it's time to deliver hamburgers to people who can do their job from at home behind a computer.
Yeah.
That's not some engineered conspiracy. That is exploiting the reality.
When AIDS came out,
where people of color.
When AIDS came out, a lot of people saying that the AIDS is not real.
Then white people.
Now, hold on. When AIDS came out, a lot of people came out saying it's not real, it's a hoax. Everybody was going with it. And then later on, about 5 or 6, 10 years later on, everybody came out and started saying, yeah, you know what? That was a hoax. That was not real. And that's going to happen.
Everybody is saying that AIDS is a hoax?
No, what I'm saying is nobody has never died from AIDS.
What?
That's what I'm trying to tell you, brother Jabari. It's always been pneumonia. It was other things that killed the people. It wasn't AIDS, brother. Now you don't hear nothing about AIDS no more. Why is that?
AIDS stands for acquired immune deficiency syndrome. So the thing that the virus does is it attacks your immune system. Right. It is correct that people die of other conditions, but those conditions could be as simple as a common cold, things that most of us fight off very easily. So and I want to say that for Minister EnQi to say that I did not have the coronavirus, when I'm the one.
Hold on. So are you saying the reason why
I'm the one? Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Jabari, you know what? I'm going to say this, and even I'm going to let you go after this. Brother,
you already said
your immune system is way stronger than mine, Jabari. How come you had the goddamn corona and I didn't? And I'm out there without no damn mask. How come, Jabari?
Sonnetta,
go ahead.
Most of what you do is behind a computer. Most of what I do is in classrooms of students.
That's not true. I was amongst the people all summer long, Jabari. I was amongst people all summer long out in the street, brother.
In addition to that, I said classrooms. I was in a closed environment with people. And in addition to that, when I told Sonnetta in early March that I was really busy and I was on the train, he said to me, the train is really dangerous, especially with the coronavirus. I never take the train. So there were a lot of reasons why I might have been more liable to contract the condition than you. But the reality is this. It just takes one person to be in proximity and me to get the virus from them. Simply because you weren't in proximity of someone that doesn't discount its deadliness. We have seen over 200,000 deaths, and the number is likely much higher. How do we know that? Well, because what you could have had it.
You could have had it, and we didn't even know because you asymptomatic.
There are some people who are asymptomatic, but
okay. So wait a minute.
Sonetta has lupus.
Because this is getting out of control. Listen. So
Well,
if you're saying that the coronavirus is affecting Black and brown people because of their compromised immune systems, if that's what I'm hearing correctly.
That's not what I said. That's not what
you just said, that they have conditions that make them more vulnerable to the coronavirus.
I did not say, but I did not say it was a compromised immune system.
Okay, now what conditions are we talking about?
For example,
all of the conditions that you named lead to a compromised immune system.
So for example, it's not, I'm not talking about an immune system.
Okay.
So there are other things that kill you. So for example, people that have diabetes are at higher risk
they're at higher risk because they have a compromised immune system.
Brother, listen.
They have diabetes.
We're gonna have to have a dialogue.
No. I'm explaining to you.
And I
want diabetes. Hold on. What you need to do is just stop talking for 1 second, Jabari.
I'm not going to stop talking.
Have diabetes are at higher risk because they have a compromised immune system. People who are obese are at a higher risk because they have a compromised immune system.
So listen, EnQi,
your immune system will have to be compromised.
I will be absolutely sure to allow you to speak. But two things. First of all, I was the one that asked for this program to be put together, and I had been asked to moderate. And let me say this, I will let you speak, but you can't just speak in between everything.
But you just let
Melee do it. If you're going to do that,
I do it. So
if you're going to do that,
you, Should I, and Melee are triple.
Hold on, EnQi, you gotta let him roll. Let him roll. He's gonna let you speak, EnQi. Go ahead, Jabari.
This is not what we agreed on. This is not what we agreed on. And I brought two brothers to the Sonetta TV platform, and look at their faces right now. And I don't know why my brother would do me like this to two brothers that are important to me. This is not what we agreed on. This is not what we agreed on. We agreed to do an analysis of the debate.
But what y'all were doing was,
and what has happened is we have actually gotten people on, in some instances, that are talking about stuff other than the debate. And I think that what we have to do, it is now 12:30. We started an hour and a half ago. We're supposed to talk about these 6 issues.
Bring it back, Jabari. Go ahead, bring it back.
Trying to do, Sonetta, but you are also preventing me.
You're wasting time, Jabari. Bring it back. Go, bring it back.
No, let me just say that if it continues this way, then I can't continue. And I just want to be clear. You're my brother, Sonetta. I love you, but this is not going to be a productive way.
Brother, bring it back, Jabari. God damn, man. Just bring it back right now.
The only way this is going to work is if you actually allow us to talk about the issues, because this is not what we agreed about.
I don't want to do this.
Okay. So we were talking about COVID-19, and we were talking about what has happened during COVID-19. I think that while there's been some muddling and some confusion, I want to move on because it's already 12:30. It's already 12:30. I would like us to talk about the next issue, which was the economy. And I want us to talk about what both candidates said about the economy. And I want us to analyze what they said, how they did, is it correct or not? Because like I've said before, simply because someone says something, Trump or Biden, that does not make it correct. Our job is to analyze it. That's what this was supposed to be. So that we're able to, and at the end, we're supposed to say, what policy would be best for Black people? That was the format. And it's been violated. It's been violated. So let's talk about the debate with regard to the discussion around the economy. Okay, would you like to start by talking a bit about that part?
Well, look, I was about to go to bed, y'all. To be quite honest with you, y'all on some next level stuff. I don't even know. But what I heard him say about the economy, Donald Trump just used the same platitudes that he's been using all year, all time long. And the stuff that really bothers me about what he says about the economy is that he says he's done more for Black people than any other president except maybe Abraham Lincoln. And he acts as if he's some big friend to the Black community. And what has been alarming me the most about that is I've seen some statistics that show that it's still a small number, but the amount of Black men who support Donald Trump is increasing from 2016. I'm not sure why that is, but I have a bunch of Trump supporters here now. Maybe you guys can help me understand why a black man would support Donald Trump.
With regard to, let's try to put that in a narrow range about the economy, because if we don't, we're going to be here till 3 a.m. So can we talk about the economy here?
Go for it.
Someone want to weigh in?
Sure.
I just what I want to say.
Talk about the lowest unemployment.
Let's let EnQi speak, and then we can go to Reg.
Yeah, I was just going to say, let's talk about the lowest unemployment rate that we've seen in years under Donald Trump, along with maybe how he has funded the HBCUs, which Barack and Biden completely overlooked, as well as what they're doing for small businesses, which I'm a small business owner. And a lot of the people that support these types of platforms are small business owners. And if they're not small business owners, they're looking to get into small businesses. So when we talk about the plan that Biden has, a lot of what he's talking about is going to limit funds and resources for small businesses. That means me and you. That's particularly us brown and black people that are trying to come from under the 9-to-5 wage slave situation going on. So we got the lowest unemployment rate that we've seen. We got the low mortgage rates. We got the small business issue. We got all of the taxes that so anywhere that we could talk about the economic issue is beautiful, because most people are in support of Biden because they don't like what Trump is saying, but they haven't really reviewed much of what Biden's economic plan is.
Okay. What
Can I go?
Wait,
sounds like you're
Reg,
talking
can
about-
we let Reg speak, and then
Oh,
Shalai, you can answer? Reg?
Yeah, so it's really simple. Trump was talking about what happened prior to COVID. After COVID, right, we had the highest unemployment rate of all peoples. Until we get a policy or strategy over what this purported COVID is, then the fact of the matter is the point is moot. The point is moot, because what Trump did say, that was prior to COVID. Now, with what Biden said, Biden has some ideas, but the fact of the matter is it's still COVID. And what the only thing that Biden did say positively is says that we need to put safety first. And Trump did not say that. So I'll stop. That's pretty much, if you want to talk about what they said, Biden was just not strong enough. He could have killed Trump on that. He did not. And if we're just talking about the debate, that's the point. Biden had an opportunity to slay Trump on the amount of devs and the closing down on the economy and the stupid opening up football, and no one else done stuff like that. So as far as us as Black people watching, as African descendants watching this, right? This is how white people think. On both sides, they're silly, right? On both sides, and they lie. And it's lies on both sides. And so Biden's whole point about, he made a mistake about what his plan would be in shutting down China. Fact of the matter is, it was good old white people from Europe that Jabari said eloquently earlier that bought in. It might have been a Chinese virus, but it was the Spaniards, the Italians. It was those white folks fleeing those countries coming into America that were the super spreaders. And that's why you have COVID virus in white places directly, where there are no Chinese. It was white people that brought it in. So America's a sick place in its policy altogether. I'll stop.
Shadai, I know you wanted to get in here.
Well, I think they made the point that I was going to ask about regarding the unemployment rate. The other thing I wanted to ask, Esquirel, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. But you were talking about being a small business owner. What's that?
That's Minister EnQi. I know his
EnQi.
Yeah, EnQi. That's EnQi.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to follow up on you about had to do with the small businesses, because the policies that I've seen Donald Trump put forward for small businesses, it's not the kind of, well, I don't know what small business you're talking about, but the kind of small business that his policies have been benefiting are people who operate hedge funds. Technically, those count as small business because of the number of employees, but that's not the kind of small business I think about when I'm thinking about what's going to benefit people in my community. Are you saying that you've directly benefited from some Donald Trump policies as far as supporting your business?
Absolutely, and not just me, a number of people. But to go a step further, what I would ask you and anybody that is supporting this Biden idea of being hypercritical of unemployment rates while at the same time supporting cities and states staying closed. You can't create jobs or open people's jobs back up if the cities and states are closed. Those two things don't happen at the same time. So either you open the cities up and let people go back to work, or you keep the cities closed and keep people unemployed. But if you're in favor of keeping the cities closed and locked down, you're also in favor of keeping the people unemployed because their jobs are in these places, these buildings, these businesses that are shut down.
Isn't that a false choice? Isn't that a false choice? Because I think everybody would, I know I would like to get out the house more and get back to my normal life, but aren't we skipping the work of fixing the problem? To say, I reacted early on, I said the thing that I know best, shut down people from coming from anywhere because that's what I know. And then to not do anything and then get, I guess, bored and say, well, I'm impatient now. Let's just open up everything again without taking care of the problem that caused the closing. We still have 1,000 people dying a day. 1,000 people is a lot to me. To me, 1,000 people dying a day is a lot. And to say that motivates. Shouldn't we then be motivated?
When you
shouldn't we then be motivated to get this disease under control rather than be motivated to pretend it doesn't exist anymore and then just open up businesses and then send my kids back to school, which is what's happening? That doesn't seem to make sense to me. I think that everybody should be getting upset and say, okay, well, get rid of this virus, handle this virus, make our society something that can function because there are countries in this world that are able to do that.
Wait, let me jump in. You got a chance. Let me jump in. I want to say that we have to, I don't think anyone wants the economy to be closed, because I know as a consultant, when stuff is closed, I just don't get paid, right?
Boom.
So I want things to be open, but what I don't want to happen, the reality is if we open things up and the underlying situation that's causing this problem has not been resolved, first of all, people are not going to go back. There's not going to be a ton of people in a restaurant if they think they're going to die for a restaurant. So so it's not like you open and everybody plays and then everything is great. And I want to say something about the unemployment rate. Let me show you a slide. We continually hear that the unemployment rate under Trump is the best that it has been. And there's actually a fact that things actually did go to their lowest point under Trump. That's a fact. But I think when you do that, it's almost like you're not looking at the entire trajectory of the line. Here is an article from the Washington Post. Take a look at where the unemployment rate was in 2009 after the Great Recession, and look at the trajectory of the unemployment rate. You can actually see that if Trump deserves credit for an unemployment rate, the only credit he deserves is not destroying it. But then, oops, I'm sorry, he's handled COVID very poorly. Let's look at the Black unemployment rate. This is the Black unemployment rate. Look at the trajectory. The Black unemployment rate actually went from at its height at over 15% to down by 7.5% under the Obama administration. And during the Trump administration, it's gone down another 2 points. I think that we have to dig beneath what is being said. So yes, the rate was lower under Trump, but if you look at the trajectory, it should be clear that he's taking far too much credit for the Black unemployment rate and the unemployment rate overall. And then if you're doing that, you can't then ignore that the Black unemployment rate is now at 13% because you don't want to, you're still making fun of wearing a mask. You're telling people they should inject themselves with bleach. You're changing what the CDC says behind the scenes. These are all things that say that not only does it seem like the guy at the top is not that smart, but in addition to that, he might not be competent at all. Now, I'm going to agree with Reg on this, though. On the issue of the unemployment rate, I did think that Biden had more ground based on these things to do more. I think that he was a little shook at the time. He should have attacked there. And he was shook because Trump was just interrupting, and he threw him off a little bit.
Wait a minute, but we can't superimpose an argument on Biden. That's almost like when we look at the Clippers getting beat by the Denver Nuggets and we're saying that the Clippers should have won those games. That's not what happened. We have to deal with what actually happened.
Well, I agree. But remember, this is an analysis. So I'm giving you my analysis. I believe that Biden could have done more. I didn't say he I said I believe. Okay, this is my take on it. That there was more fertile ground for him to exploit there, and I don't think he did.
Okay, that's fair. But since everybody has kind of circled back around to the COVID in their statements about the economy, I think it's fair, especially since you keep mentioning the mask, that we take a look for a second. I just want to share my screen really quick as well. I think it's fair that we take a look at what I was saying about immune systems, right? So let's just take a look really quick. This won't be long.
Okay.
Let's just look at the NRF2 system and the coronavirus, right? I think if we take a look here now, this is the actual center of the immune system in all of your cells in your body. It's called the NRF2 system. This is what protects your cells. So there is no mask or ventilator that actually supports NRF2, your NRF2 system function. So when we're talking about masks and ventilators, and we're also lining that up in the same sentences as getting to the root problem before we deal with employment, we need to actually be talking about boosting immune systems if that's what we're going to deal with. We need to look at the reason why people that have certain cardiovascular illnesses, cancers, autoimmune diseases, obesity are more susceptible to more severe symptoms from coronavirus. It's because this system here is compromised, which is why when you look, this is not Dr. EnQi saying this. This is the U.S. National Library of Medicine. This is this is cell.com. This is what journal is this? We can go through all of the
what they say. Can you show us what you're showing us links, but I don't know. Can you show a part in the article that supports what you're saying?
Okay.
This is Ola.
We can go here.
This is Ola.
Ola, you want to jump in?
I just want to chime in. I'm just going to chime in really quickly. I have said nothing, and part of it is because I haven't actually watched the debate. So I just want to reinforce kind of what Dr. EnQi has been saying all along here. If we are going to be having this conversation, it should have been related to the debate instead of superimposing an argument outside of it. I'm not clear on how having a sidebar on COVID and NRF and all of this fits into the evaluation of the debate in terms of theatrical performance. At the very least, I can probably surmise, and how that really fits into where this puts us on the other side of this election.
I think that's a fair assessment.
I'm not getting that right now.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Okay, so I'll dial it back. I'll dial it back once again, and I'll say this.
Okay.
If we look at the 1994 crime bill, one of the things that is a big plague in the American economy, going back to the Democrat sponsor, because you said that a president has to sign off on a bill. Well, the Democrats were in office at the time. So it was written by Biden, but it was signed into works by the Clintons. So if we look at that bill exponentially increased Black incarceration rate. Now we know the Constitution says that slavery has been abolished except for the convicted felon. So what we're looking at now is that a lot of jobs that could actually be had by people getting paid to do them are being had by the prison population, which has been increased and fostered by the Democrat Party. Not only has it been increased by this party, which is putting a damper on the economy, because these are millions of jobs that actual people could be doing. Not only is it hurting the economy, but when you take into consideration the effect of all of our people that shouldn't be in prison, sitting in prison while these quote unquote diseases are ripping through. When we see these numbers coming about COVID numbers jumping up, a lot of these cases that are jumping up throughout the prison system. The prison system is being ravaged by the coronavirus and all these other illnesses because they're trapped. They got subpar food. They have the hygiene level is through the floor, and we can't say we're going to share blame for that with the Republicans. When we do that, that's disingenuous, because we have to actually look at the evidence that's before us. When we say these things can be tied back to this bill, we have to look at the bottom of that bill and see whose name is on that bill. It would be entirely responsible for us to call ourselves literate, articulate speaking men and think that we could vote into office the person who authored most of the problems we're dealing with right now, and that same person is going to grade their test paper as an F when they graded their test paper as an A and created all these problems.
Okay,
when you look at George Floyd,
I want to chime in again.
Yeah. Wrap for a second, EnQi. Wrap your last comment, and then we're going to go to Beloved again.
When you look at George Floyd, when you look at all these issues that's going on, these are Democrat cities, to mind you. So that's another thing that we have to think about. All of these places are Democrat cities, Democrat mayors, governors, etc. And if we really want to look at the structure of government,
okay,
governors run their states. Governors run their states. So a lot of the blame that people are heaping on Trump for what's going on in these states are actually should be rolling up to the governors, and that's how politics work.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I'm going to jump in again because, again, I feel like we're moving away from the debates. I was alive in 1994. I was awake. My eyes were open. I'm not a Democrat. I've never been a Democrat. I voted in every election. I think when we reduce things to red and blue, we're losing sight of what it means for us as African peoples in this country. We're not really having the conversations that we need to have. And just because Trump wasn't in office at this particular period doesn't mean he gets a pass. It's not like we don't know what his ideas are around policing and criminal justice. He's been projecting, he's been he's been projecting to us what he intends to do. Telegraphing, that's the word, thank you. Let's not pretend that all of a sudden that, this is going to be, because Biden has this original sin, which he can't escape, that it means that Trump is, forgiven, that he has, this clean slate and that everything's going to be all gravy and good as we move forward. I think it's very short-sighted and myopic for us to approach the conversation this way. I think, I haven't heard anything convince me that Trump has, specifically when it comes to law enforcement, policing, criminalization of Black men and women, that it's going to be anything in our interests. If anything, it's moving in the opposite direction where he's saying, let's roll back the clock. Let's take it back to old times. Whatever you're doing as far as Black Lives Matter, Black folks in protesting, speaking up about these issues is what is actually criminal. The fact that we're talking about race is what is making America, it's dividing America and making us criminal. He has no interest in, alleviating these things, except to the extent it's transactional and helps improve his chances politically of getting an advantage. I think, that when he signed that criminal reform bill, it was one little bright star, in a very dark place. And I think it didn't do what he wanted it to do for him. And his language outside of that has been everything else. I think it even undermines and undercuts what that bill supported.
Yeah. So let's shift. Let's shift. I thank you for trying to keep us on track. Let's shift. I want to go to the next issue.
Yo, Jabari, your sound is messed up. Your sound is messed up like you underwater.
Yeah, is that how you all are hearing me?
Yeah.
Is it any better?
No. Go out, come back in. Go out, come back in. That's how it fixed.
I can.
Say something again, Jabari?
Yeah, I'm here.
It still sound bad. Go out, come back in.
I just think it's unfair for people to try to blame a administration that had nothing to do with the 1994 crime bill for the 1994 crime bill. I think when Trump does something wrong, we put the blame on Trump. When we articulate something that Biden has done wrong, we say, you know what, the Republicans got to share the blame for this too. We need to make sure that everybody's held accountable. Why don't we keep that same energy with Trump, or just keep the same energy with Biden? I just want it to be consistent. If we're going to blame Trump for the things that Trump does in office and blame Trump alone, I think we should do the same thing for Biden and the Clintons and the Democrats. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying let's keep it one way specific. If we're blaming all politicians for what one politician does, then let's say that, you know what? All politicians drop the ball on coronavirus.
But who's doing that, EnQi? I don't hear anyone.
How did all politicians drop the ball on coronavirus?
Yeah.
No. What you missed what I was saying, Jabari, when you was out. I was saying that when we highlight that Biden and the Democrats put this 1994 crime bill into play, what I'm hearing from you guys is that everybody needs to somehow share blame for this crime bill and from all the plants that grew from its roots, as opposed to holding the people who wrote it and put it into works accountable, because we're not doing that for Trump.
I did hear what you said. I did hear what you said because I actually listened on YouTube, even though I left Zoom. I want to say that I don't hear anybody, including myself, saying that we should give Biden a pass on the crime bill.
No, me either.
What I have said,
I'm not saying a pass. What I'm saying is that I'm hearing that you. Okay,
you said hold accountable. I think that we should hold them accountable for the crime.
Well, we vote, but the topic tonight is to discuss what was said on the debate.
Yes.
Right. So, but the 94 crime bill was brought up on the debate.
Right, but we're not right. So Biden had an opportunity. Actually, he had nothing really to say about that. Trump won that particular round, right? So hold
up, real quick. Y'all see that? You see that? I just said, hold up for a minute, real quick. You see how Reggie stopped because he respects authority? You see that? See, that's the level of respect that my brother had for me, man. But when I say that to everybody else, they keep going. Reggie is always respectful like that. Whenever I say stop, but go ahead, Reggie. I just wanted to show something to the people real quick. Go ahead, Reggie. Continue, my brother. Love you, fam.
I have finished my point. It was very short. My point is we have a few more minutes to discuss what was said on the debate. Biden lost that round because he is culpable of the crime bill. So so Jabari, it's up to him to move the table. But Biden lost that, right? I need to say no more on that. He just simply he got caught on his emotions because Trump kept interrupting him as a strategy.
But Reg,
yes,
the round wasn't the crime bill. No. The round was about race and violence in the United States. That was the round. I think that on that particular point, Biden will always lose because his involvement in the crime bill is a major concern. Right. However, when we look at the entire area, the round, race and violence in America, it really behooves us to recognize that when asked to actually divest himself from white supremacists
He wouldn't do it.
The person in the Oval Office didn't say, I don't support white supremacists. He actually acted like he was their general. He said, I am telling them to stand down and stand back. When you tell someone to stand back, that implies that he's going to give them future orders.
And this is America.
No. That is a false narrative.
What I'm saying.
That's horrible. That's a false narrative.
Wait. Let me finish.
That's horrible.
Let me finish.
Are we having an integrationist conversation?
Let me finish.
You know what?
Let me finish. Listen, both of you may have an opportunity to weigh in on this.
Okay, go ahead.
But jumping in while I'm talking doesn't help.
You're correct.
So I think that and I'm trying to let everybody weigh in. I am. I think that is we should be really concerned when the person who is talking about white supremacists, people who are literally killing Black protesters, killing them with AR-15s, running them over with cars. Likely we may be seeing a new resurgence of lynchings. Those folks, he didn't distance himself from them, and he never distanced himself from them. And I think that I want to be clear. I truly believe that this is not about who's racist and who's not, because both parties and both candidates are not above critique. But I think that only one candidate here is absolutely pandering, supporting, and ginning up white violent racists. And I think that we should be concerned about that.
I agree.
And I think that if we analyze this, we can clearly say that neither of them is perfect on the issues of race.
So are we integration?
That's not. Let me finish my thought. I'm not expecting perfection. I'm trying to say, what is the most strategic decision for us to make? That's my issue.
Okay,
I heard Reg, and then I heard EnQi. So Reg.
Okay, both of them lead to the same result, right? The passive liberal approach of the Democrats, we still get murdered by police, and the police get set free. The Donald Trump tells you exactly what's on his mind. The problem with this show is that we're bleeding into integrationists. So we're reading, I'm not saying any of you are integrationists, but the fact of the matter is it's better for us, right, to deal with what they truly believe and act and create a Black power agenda, right? So listening to them on both sides, both sides mean nothing to Black people. Both sides mean nothing to Black people. But if I was an integrationist, I would want it to be better. I would want Biden, who is a segregationist.
Thank you, Reggie.
Right? I would want to hear Biden, but he's a segregationist. Trump tells you exactly who he is.
Thank you.
We should know exactly what the white man thinks, and we should act accordingly. I'll stop.
Let's
see. I wanna ask Jabari, brother Jabari. Of course, you're gonna be voting. Can you tell us why you're voting for Biden? Just tell us why.
Well, honestly, I think our entire discussion is a reason why I am. I want to be clear that I am not a Biden cheerleader. Right? I think that Biden has lots of blemishes and issues for us to address. I think that on the scorecard, though, if we look at what Biden has done and what his policies are, and we look at what Trump has done and what his policies are.
Jabari, stop. I don't want to hear no more. You crazy as hell.
You asked me to answer, and then
Go ahead, Jabari. Go ahead, man.
And so I think that we should be clear which one would be more dangerous to us. And I think that what we have to do is we have to look at what Trump has done as well. We talked about judges, but I think that most of us, and we talk about the criminal justice system, we're not necessarily understanding when one side is packing the court with right-wing judges, that can't go on behalf of Black people. When the other side is trying to further destroy the Voting Rights Act, that can't go on behalf of Black people. When one side is trying to destroy the Fair Housing Act, that can't go on behalf of Black people. When one side is trying to further cut the education budget, the health budget, get rid of health care during a pandemic, that can't go on behalf of Black people.
Oh my goodness.
And I think that what I think that we should do is we need to be able to look at both policies, what both people are suggesting to do, and make an evaluation. So that's what I have done. I've made an evaluation. And I want to argue, I think this is true, I might be the only person on the panel that knows Donald Trump.
Okay, now
the rest of y'all are talking about The Apprentice. I'm talking about a dude that I know.
Hold on.
Ask the panel. Let me respond to the.
Let me respond. Hold on. Let me respond because I was supposed to go after Reggie. So
you were.
Let me say this. There's a difference.
I want y'all to let Melee in there too now.
Yeah,
definitely.
Melee, you can go right after this.
But let me say this. There's a difference between somebody who has divisive ideas or racist ideas or even racist or divisive rhetoric, if that's what we're going to put on Trump. I'm not saying I do, but if that's what the consensus is, let's let that be that. There's a difference between that and actually writing the laws and passing and supporting the laws that allow for people to perform hate crimes to get away. So there's a big difference between the result of the super predicate felon language and the 1994 crime bill allowing for police to stop and frisk, all of these crimes that we're protesting, which the crimes that we're protesting are the things that opened up the doorway for quote unquote protesters to be shot. If we're talking about if these things didn't happen, if George Floyd didn't happen, there would be no protesters out there. So when we say that Trump and his rhetoric, blah, 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 before George Floyd, which happened in a state with a Democratic governor and a Democratic mayor, none of these things was going on wholesale the way they was before. Number two, if we take a look, because you mentioned education, if we look through America and we look at the Black cities, for instance, Philadelphia, I lived in Philadelphia. Detroit, I lived in Detroit. New York, I was raised in Detroit. These are the places where, especially if we look at Philadelphia and Detroit, these are the places where these places have been under Democratic mayors and governors for the longest. So how can we continue to put Democrats in office when we see that the Democrats are the ones who are eroding the education system for the Black people that live in these cities while they do not? They have straw addresses so that they could run for office where they don't live, and they live out in the suburbs. And in those places, they have well-funded educational systems. So if you want to show where Philadelphia, Detroit, places where we at, has been under Republican mayors and Republican Democrats, where the education system has been defunded, like where we got abandoned school systems, please point that out. But when we look across this country, all we're going to see is Democrat-run school systems that are failing.
EnQi, I can't disagree with you more.
All you got to do is point out the cities.
Well, let me just say two words: Texas, Florida. Your argument is gone, because I don't know how you could think that this is all. Texas is a Republican state. Florida's governor is in what party? Look at the systems, the health system, the educational system in both of those states.
Okay.
Now let's be clear.
Which cities are you speaking about specifically?
Wait. What you are making is a correlation argument rather than a causation argument. The reality is that
what I'm doing is holding the people who are in office while things happen accountable for the things that happen.
Then why are you, based on what you're saying, giving the governor of Texas, where there are many instances of police brutality, a pass because he's Republican, and the governor of Florida a pass because he's Republican? Because you said it only occurs in states that have Democratic governors. That's not true. It's just not true.
Specifically to education just now. Which cities?
But the education system in both of those states is a problem as well.
Which cities are you talking about?
I mean, what city? You talking about governors? You moving the goalposts, brother.
Correct.
Let's go to Melee. Let's go to Melee.
I'm not moving the goalposts because the mayor, see, local politics control funding. So if we're talking about education system, it's cool. We got to talk about local. Politics.
Local government is not all entirely doesn't control funding entirely. The federal government also gives funding to the states, and in addition to that,
that funding is allocated by who?
Funding also comes from the state and the city. So the picture,
and when it comes to the city, who decides where the money goes?
The picture, brother. You're moving the goalposts. The reality is, if you are saying that all of these problems happen in places where Democratic governors are, then maybe you're not aware of who are the governors of some of the states with some of the most entrenched problems, because those problems exist there as well. And with regard to police brutality, let's be clear, just because you put in a revolutionary Black governor, there are none, but let's say you did, that's not necessarily going to change what happens with the police in that city, because let's be clear that police departments are entrenched. They're entrenched. You could have a progressive Black mayor, governor, and the police still gonna beat Black people. That's what happens, because the stuff that has happened in the criminal justice system is much more entrenched than simply local politics. We will have to address that over the course of several years, not over the course of one election. We get Melee in because Melee wanted to say something.
Hold on, real quick. Melee gonna get in. Jabari, you are for reparations, aren't you?
I am.
Well, you know, Joe Biden said he's not for reparations. And he's only for reparations only if you can include Native Americans, right? Only if you can include Native Americans. And Kamala Harris said, no, we ain't going through all that. She stood up and like, oh, hell no, we ain't going through all that. So you are for Joe Biden. And don't make me show you the article. I'll show it to you.
No, I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to show you the article right here.
Okay. You're going to show me the article.
That's not what the candidates talked about. So can we talk about what the candidates talk about?
Yeah,
yes. Go ahead, Melee. Melee is on you, brother.
What Joe Biden actually said is he says he wants to see the study on feasibility for slavery reparations. He actually is in favor of HR 40, which is for a study. Now, listen, I'm not saying that I'm voting for Joe Biden because he's in support of reparations.
Hold up, Jabari. You said that you said Joe Biden wanted to do the study of what?
He wants to see a study for the feasibility. I was going to show you the article for feasibility on reparations. I can show you the article in Newsweek.
Shakeway L in the building, but we're going to go on over to Melee.
So I also want to say that the reality is Donald Trump is said very, very negative things about all of those policies. Which government do you think will give you the more leverage on that topic? The one where almost all of the folks running for office are now saying that they're in support, or the other one that says that race is not entrenched? Just as Trump said tonight in the debate. I'm getting us back to the debate, Reg, because I know you're upset. He actually said, and you have a right to be upset, because this is what we're supposed to be talking about. He actually said several times that there is no systemic racism. There's no systemic racism in all those things. And we heard Joe Biden very clearly say, yes, systemic racism exists in the debate tonight. And so I think that that's some of what we have to address. Brother Melee, please, I'm sorry you waited so long.
That's all right. This is my final little point. I think that the debate, nothing was really accomplished, bunch of yelling, and that's what Trump wanted, because if you start being political, he can't hold a candle to Joe Biden as far as laws and just, governing. Donald Trump is not a good governor. Now, I just want to say this. Donald Trump has put an unprecedented amount of judges in office. And with Ruth Bader Ginsburg dying, and they're going to get this right-leaning judge in who's going to be in there for who knows how long. These guys that are banging the Democrats and saying they haven't done nothing for us, I want you all to just sit back and watch this movie unfold. As you say, the people that make the laws, it's going to be the people that uphold the law and rule and say, okay, this is what it is and this is how it's going to be. We're in for one hell of a ride because the court is getting ready to swing 6-3. And it's going to be some serious, serious shit. And finally, I feel this way. I could be wrong. Y'all could kill me for this. Donald Trump has done his job. But what he has done is he has woken up too many people. Too many people are now getting involved in the political process. And he's going to lose this election by an unprecedented number. That's all I'm saying. That's what I believe. Y'all heard it here first. Donald Trump is going to lose bigger than anyone's ever lost an election. And it's because the powers that be, yo, man, you're waking up too many people. We can't have.
I would like to ask you a question.
Wait. Are you done? Are you done, Melee? Hold on. Are you finished?
Yeah, I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay, Melee, I got a question for you. Do you know what the core values of the right are versus what the core values of the left are?
Yeah, the right is supposed to be conservative.
What does that mean?
Huh?
What does that mean? What are the core values of conservative?
Please, if you do that, we're going to be talking about lots of other stuff. Can we talk about what we're talking about right now?
Small government for the people to handle their resources. They're against social programs. And the right and the left is more for social programming and the supposed handout, as the right likes to call it. I mean, what are you asking me?
Well, because I think that I've been in the conscious community, or what the new version of the conscious community is, since its inception. And everybody in the conscious community, from the time I've been listening, since even before I was born, watching videotapes of what brothers been talking about in the 60s and the 50s, were about small government, were about policing and running their own communities. So when you're saying that you're against the right, you're actually against the people's right to govern and police themselves.
What?
Because the left,
that's some real spin, brother. That's a real spin.
What I'm saying is this.
Wow.
Neither side is for the black man. And until we take responsibility for ourselves and start working together and getting back to the Black Wall Street way of thinking, so to speak, we always gonna be bitching and complaining because they're not for us. The right white and the white left is not for the black man.
Right, but we have to look at how they benefit us.
Okay, wait. We're not going to continue. Wait, no. I'm done. I've been asked to moderate. You both made comments on that point. We need to move on. It's already after 1 a.m.
Yeah, I'm done. I got a test tomorrow. I'm going to school.
Yeah, so do I. I got so much stuff to do.
For bringing me up.
There's one final topic. I'd love for you to stay for a little bit.
Y'all take
Melee, if you can stay in for just a second more. We've already lost one person. There's one final topic, and that was the integrity of the election. The integrity of the election. That was the final topic. And I'd like to see how all of you, and I want to welcome our dear brother. I don't know, Naeem Elway. I didn't know you by that name, brother.
Yeah, that's my other name. That's my original name.
I don't know you by that name. So
BKA Lord Abba, aka Mr. Just the Facts.
We also have Lord Abba joining in. Can we talk about this final topic? And I want to try to keep it to the topic because the hour is late. Are there concerns around the integrity of the election?
Yes.
You want to say something, Lord Abba?
Sure. When you look at, if you can pull up right now, the Southern Poverty Law Center has put out a report. I want to say it was 2018, and it did an investigation into what we call red or Republican states. There has been systemic voter suppression going on forever in these places. You know, when I hear people talk about crime and things of that nature that's happening in blue states, while in red states, the same crime is going on, while people are more impoverished, one of the things that they're failing to look at is this very point that we're speaking on right now, and that is voter suppression. And when you look at, I'm in the state of Georgia right now, Kemp was sued. This man was sued because he destroyed over 100,000 ballots of quote unquote Black people here in the state of Georgia, was still allowed to be the Secretary of State, was still allowed to govern and count the ballots of his own election against Stacey Abrams. So like the Republican Party, which is the right wing, because I don't want us to ever confuse the fact that you have right wing fascists in America and you have left wing liberals in America. And back in those days, in the Reconstruction era, et cetera, the beginning of America, the Republican Party were the left wing liberals. Once you get into the 60s and the Southern strategy, you understand the switch. And then the Democrats become the left-wing liberals and the Republicans become what they are today, right-wing conservatives. Trump basically said on the debate stage tonight that he is going to make sure that these ballots don't get counted. All you had to do is listen.
Yeah.
I'm wait, Jabari, I just want to say real quick, I am no fan of Biden.
Right.
I disagree with you to a certain degree. I see you as a more progressive Democrat. My politics is reparationist. I'm not a conservative, liberal, progressive, et cetera, et cetera. But if we're being fair in our assessment, Trump is telling you, and he's signaling to everybody in the nation and the world that he's going to steal this election, period.
Yeah, he also said, just to add two things, Lord Abba, he also said that the way that he'll agree with the election is if you get rid of the ballots and there'll be no change. He also said that he was very happy that many Black people didn't vote in 2016, according to a leaked memo. And that's in Business Insider. This is not like a left-wing publication. Mm-hmm. He's been very clear about how he feels about the Black vote and Black people. People close to him. His own niece says that she heard him use the N-word many times. His own niece.
Okay.
I want to be clear that with regard to the election, he has been very clear about the fact that he does not want there to be votes done in a way that will save people from the pandemic. He's also been clear that he is attempting to pack the court so that he can win an election when the people have already spoken. He's going to use the courts to try to take an election. He's absolutely been clear about these things. And so I want us to really recognize that with regard to election integrity, there are many, many, many concerns afoot.
Okay.
And what we should do, I see you, EnQi, I'm coming to you.
Okay.
What we should do is we should make sure that everybody who votes, especially if I see you, Reg, I'm gonna come to you next after that, right? That everyone votes, especially if your ballot is postmarked on or before election day, your vote should be counted. But clearly, Donald Trump is saying that he has lots of problems with mail-in votes, when in actuality, everyone in his family and all of his people in the White House all use mail-in votes. He already voted by mail-in vote. So this is pretty paper thin, and I think that we should be very concerned, particularly in the places where Black and brown people vote, because that's where the shenanigans are going to take place. Minister EnQi.
Okay, so particularly where Black and brown people are voting, if we look at those places, most of those are Democrat places. That's number one. Number two, if the shoe was on the foot, we wouldn't have this same energy. If Biden was saying, I'm going to explain, and then I want to let y'all hear, I want to share the screen a second, and I want to let y'all hear from an actual Democratic senator, because a lot of things we're saying is outside looking in. So we can hear from a Democratic senator, and he can give us the inside out. So hold on for 1 second. If
now
Biden
wait,
was saying,
Minister EnQi, we're only going to let you share if it has to do with the debate tonight.
Absolutely. We're talking about
not going to listen to everyone and their opinion.
No. We're talking about voter integrity. Jabari, we're talking about voter integrity.
We're talking
about the integrity of the vote.
No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about what happened tonight in the debate.
Correct. And what I'm saying
that occurred between these two parties.
Correct.
With regard to voter integrity. That's it.
Right. Okay,
if what you're going to share is outside that, I'm gonna overrule it because we have to come to a close.
Okay, I'm listening, and what I'm saying is speaking directly to what we're talking about tonight.
Did it come from Biden or Trump?
No, it came from.
Then we're not doing that now. Then we're not doing that now. We're not doing it. It's just that we can't listen. I want to be clear that the conversation can't go on forever.
Okay, hold on.
You want to talk about something that Biden or Trump did or said, and fact check them based on what they did or said. That's all fair game.
Okay, but what you're cutting me off from saying right now is directly pertaining to Biden and Trump.
Go ahead.
So if Biden said that he did not trust Trump's vote and that he wanted to use the judge system, our legal system, to verify the votes, nobody would be complaining at all.
Is that what Trump said?
That is exactly what Trump
said.
Because Trump cited, yes, he did. Trump cited potential voter fraud that's already happening by saying ballots were thrown in the garbage. Y'all didn't watch the debate tonight? He said there were ballots thrown in the garbage. He also said that people were shipped more than one ballot so that the ballots would be incorrect. Oh, wait a minute. Y'all didn't watch the debate tonight?
He's making stuff up though, man, about voter fraud, man. He's making stuff up.
Oh, so when Trump says it, he's making it up. But when Biden says that, we take it on face value.
That we have seen. You have to at least show me the source that says that.
Jabari, your voice is messed up again. You got to reset your computer.
The source.
He had a commission.
Jabari, you got to reset your computer screen again. Your voice is back under the water.
He had a commission that he's got started.
No, hold on.
All this voter fraud.
Jabari, your audio is messed up again.
He had a commission. He had a commission started to get on the voter fraud, and when they came back with the results, there was none. He just said all that because he was trying to prove that he didn't lose the popular vote and that a bunch of Mexicans voted in California that weren't citizens. Donald Trump is just a liar, man.
So what is it about, and is there any validity, in your opinion, to the Democrat Party counting on us being low information voters?
Oh, that's absolutely the case, and I was a part of that.
So,
listen, we're not doing that. EnQi, what you're doing is violating what we talked about.
Yo, I can't hear you, Jabari. Nobody can hear you. Your audio is bad.
Yeah, your audio messed up, Jabari.
So what I was showing y'all just now was the senator for the Democrats saying that when they plan the votes, they plan for people to actually miscalculate their votes and use low information voters to boost Democrat votes. If a Democratic senator speaking on the actual practices of Democrats is not valid to the conversation, then I don't know what is. Because we're speaking about hearsay. This is an actual Democrat senator telling you what the practices are.
But we are speaking about debate.
Damn integrationists. I am so upset with the panel, right? We are African people, descendants of the continent of Africa, enslaved. We actually want this to go away. We want utter mayhem in this country.
That's Antifa talking.
No. I'm not Antifa. We wanted to show a point that white people are not our God. They are fallible, right? And they can't even live up to their own goddamn constitution, their own laws. So this is the same thing that happened pre-Civil War, leading up to the Civil War. White folks are savages in their own process, and we have the benefit of